Let the words of my mouth and the meditations of our hearts be acceptable to you, O God, our strength and our Redeemer. Amen. When I first arrived at Emmanuel 2 years ago, you were facing an enormous transition. Matthew had just left. We were all in the middle of COVID. The world was shut down, and worship was being done entirely on Zoom. You were grieving the loss of a well-loved rector and the stability that provided, along with an anxiety of an interim period, all on top of a global pandemic. Insecurity upon insecurity. Grief for the loss, trepidation for the future, instability in the present. It is normal to be anxious about such changes. Transitions are uncomfortable places to be. In the lesson from Jeremiah, the people of Judah are also in transition. The kingdom of Judah had been ancient and powerful when in the 6th century BC, the kingdom was conquered by the Babylonians. Jerusalem was razed to the ground. Many were captured and brought as prisoners to Babylon. Others were killed. In fact, in our reading our psalm today, we heard a lot of the tragedy that people were feeling at that time. This whole thing resulted in Judah becoming a vassal state to the kingdom of Babylon. So in the passage this morning in Jeremiah the prophet and God speak with one voice about this change in fortunes. They lament, "For the hurt of my poor people, I am hurt. I mourn and dismay has taken hold of me." For them, the past is no more, and the present is painful, and the future is hurt. They can't go backwards, they can't see forward. Transitions are uncomfortable places to be. But there's several different stages in a transition. It's not sort of one big lump. And usually it's sort of in the first part, the initial part of transition stage, it's normal to look backwards, to realize it, to think back in the old days and to realize that stability is no longer there, to grieve what is lost, just as Emmanuel did after Matthew first left. The second stage of transition is to be introspective for a while, to understand who you are and how you've changed, which is what Emmanuel did as he answered surveys and spoke to the search committee, creating the parish profile. You spent time reflecting on where you've been and where you're going. Who is Emmanuel separate from that? Now, this third stage of a transition is to prepare for the new thing that is about to happen. Which is when you start preparing for the arrival of your new rector. You're not quite there yet, but this stage is almost here. So as you prepare for this future, this third stage, since I will be gone, I thought that I'd like to share with you some thoughts that perhaps might be helpful for you as you start to move into that stage. The first point is that there's a saying that during the first year of a new rector, they can do no wrong. During the second year, they can do no right. The third year, you all learn to live together. It's a little bit like a marriage. First, everyone is starry-eyed, and with good reason. Fabulous priest and outstanding congregation are making a long-term commitment to each other. This is all good news. But even the best priest and the healthiest congregations have growing edges. And eventually, some of the idealized projections start to tarnish a little bit. It's not a bad thing. Because once you each become realistic about the other and love each other, warts and all, that is when the trust and the real work of ministry begin. The second point I want to make is that each congregation, all congregations, have patterns of life together that are unique to the parish that will not be obvious to your new rector. Patterns to which you yourselves are likely completely oblivious. It's the way it's always done. Is this done everywhere? Not necessarily. It's not good or bad, it just is. And your new rector, not may, your new rector will step on those unconscious taboos and sacred cows, and this will be distressing to some. Believe me, I know this from personal experience, having taken lots of personally bull in the china shop steps in many parishes in my day. You might even at this stage think you called the wrong rector, but you haven't. I had a friend who described this phenomenon with the analogy of rakes hiding in the tall grass. The rector's sort of moving along, you think you've got clear lawn ahead of you, and all of a sudden, boing, you step on a rake, and you're like, oh, that was a tender spot there. You don't see the taboo until it's too late. So be gentle with your new rector. If he or she ever seems to run roughshod over what to you are sacred practices, trust me, that is not their intention. And they will appreciate a gentle comment so they can make a course correction. Third point, don't compare your new rector at year 1 to Matthew at year 12. I suspect that early on Matthew also made mistakes when he was a new rector. But over the years he grew into the role in extraordinary ways. This too will happen with your new rector. The fourth point is, your new rector will not be another Matthew, or another Stephanie for that matter. There is no other Matthew, and that's not the search committee's charge. Your new rector will have their own skill set, personality, and quirks. They won't be Matthew, they won't be me, but they're not supposed to be. And they will be awesome. So in summary, the 4 points during this final, begin to enter this final transition stage, the 4 points are, during the first year of a new rector, they can do no wrong. During the second year, they can do no right. And the third year, everyone learns to live together. 2, your new rector will step on unconscious taboos and sacred cows. Be forgiven. 3, don't compare your new rector at year 1 to Matthew at year 12. 4, the search committee is not charged with finding another Matthew, so your new rector will have his or her own skill set, personality, and quirks, and will be fabulous. Matthew is gone, and now I too will soon leave. You're still in transition. But what you learned from this period is that you can thrive despite a variety of clergy. Emmanuel is greater than any one priest. You are strong, creative, faithful, and generous children of God. So when your new rector arrives, you can fully embrace each other and move forward into the fullness which God has planned for you. Just as the kingdom of Judah did 70 years after the Babylonian conquest and exile. That transition is not the end of the story. The people returned to their homeland, they rebuilt the temple, and the kingdom grew stronger than ever. Transitions can be times of anxiety, yes. They're also a time to reframe the future, to step forward in ways previously unimagined. Really. And through it all, God is